Hi, welcome to Clitorally Speaking, the podcast. I'm Michelle Doherty.
And I'm Emily Lane.
We are BFFs dedicated to bringing you conversations between girlfriends over a bottle of wine.
Oh, I am so excited about the wine part.
Oh, me too. So pull up a chair, grab your glass,
and let's get talking.
Hey, Emily, how are you today?
Hey, Michelle. I'm awesome. I'm feeling great. I'm excited to be here. I'm loving this new season we're in.
Yeah.
I'm excited about our guests.
Yeah.
And our wine, and I'm doing well.
Good.
How about you?
Well, I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad we're in the studio because let me tell you, if we were trying to do it remotely, it would not have happened. I have been suffering under minimal internet. Minimal, like 2.0 kilobits per second. I mean, you need 5 megabits per second to get the minimum for Netflix.
Okay.
So there's like no internet in the house.
Man.
And I was on the phone with Charter Spectrum. I know we have lots of listeners.
Oh, yeah. Right.
With them since 9:15 yesterday morning.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't until like 2:30 they finally acknowledged, there's some signal issues. So we have to have a technician come out Thursday. So today's Monday. Yesterday was Sunday.
Yes.
And then we still have really crappy internet. And I said, I have teenage boys live in my house that, like to watch TV and also play PlayStation. And you're going to tell them, I have to tell them 4 days.
Right.
4 days. And I'm like, well, it is what it is. Yeah. So I'm super glad that everybody's healthy and we are in the big studio because we have a fantastic guest with us today, and that we're not dependent upon my internet to make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely deserve a drink after that experience. We all know what it's like getting stuck in those customer service.
Well, and when you have nothing to distract you, no television, other than watching something tiny on your phone, what can you do but drink?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
I know. So might as well record a podcast.
Might as well.
Yeah.
And, that's what we're doing. So
that's right. So I think we should talk about our guests because that definitely inspired the wine choice for today.
Okay. All right.
So I'm so excied. Oh my God. I have a girl crush.
Little fan
yes,
right
that's right. So we have Tonina Saputo.
Hello.
Yay. So I'm sure everybody knows who she is. But if you don't know who she is, she's a complete badass musician, jazz vocalist, singer, songwriter, really kind of jazz meets soul meets a little bit of world in there, right?
Yeah.
Studied at Berklee, has given a TED Talk, like just an all around amazing woman.
She's on Barack Obama's playlist.
Yes. That's right.
Barack Obama knows who Tonina is. So all of our listeners and Clitorati out there, you now know who Tonina is. So go to Spotify, go to iTunes, download, follow her. She deserves to be known internationally because she's amazing.
Well,
her music is amazing.
You are known internationally.
I have my countries that know me more than others, but so I have a huge following in Spain and Mexico. Those are my 2 countries outside of the U.S.
Now, do you have family in those areas? Or
I don't have any family.
Is it just a lust for life that got you there?
I don't have any family in Mexico or Spain. I studied abroad in Spain, though.
Okay.
So I kind of have like a group of friends there that really support me and share my stuff, and I'm super fortunate to have them, whenever we go there.
Well, let's tell our listeners how we first saw you. I first saw you. You have, of course, were already familiar. It was a couple of years ago when the Kranzberg was doing a sort of like a smattering of acts.
Of the talent.
And there was the New Line Theater was doing something. You performed, and then like others, but you like totally stood out. And I was like, Emily. We have to have her on our show. And then fast forward like a year later, we're at the TED Talk at St. Louis.
Right.
Art.
That was such a great event.
And you're performing again. And we're like, we can't.
It's a sign.
We have to have her on the show. You know,
Yeah.
if we go a third time when we're out and performing and we haven't reached out, and so we did, or Emily did, one late night after a bottle of wine.
You're right.
Little
course.
she had
Courage.
a little courage, you know,
Yeah.
and you said yes, and we were
doing a
forward.
happy dance.
We were jumping up
Yay!
and down.
Oh my god, I was
Yeah.
honored. I was so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
So you have a really interesting background, a nice melange of heritage in your family, and which is what inspired our wine. So I want to talk about the wine part, and then we'll just dive into all that is you. So you have a Sicilian background.
My mother, on my mother's side.
Yeah.
So it matters because it's the woman, you know, so it's
Mhm.
important.
Absolutely. So we shared with Jason, our friend at the Wine Merchant, some of your videos, and I shared your wine preferences and that you had this Italian background or partial Italian background, and he selected this for us. So this is Etna Bianco, Lasabi. I'm terrible at Italian pronunciations. Are you good at Italian pronunciations?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to say this for us?
Let's see what
You
we
can
got
read
here.
the label. Yeah.
Le Savier d'Etna.
Okay.
The
That
Savier
sounds-
d'Etna.
De l'Etna.
De l'Etna.
The Etna.
The
Okay.
Savier de l'Etna.
Okay, that's way better than I was going to do it. So, this is a 2019. It's white. I'm finding that it has some nice effervescence on it. Like there's these tiny little bubbles in there, which was really surprising. This color is beautiful. It's this really light pale yellow, so pretty. And on the nose, right away, I get salinity. I'm getting some wet stone, some peach, pear, apple, apricot, citrus notes of lemon and grapefruit. It's pretty fabulous.
It's fantastic.
Most of that comes through on the palate, I think, too. What do you think?
Well, when I get my nose out of the glass because it's so tasty. It's, I mean, the aroma is phenomenal.
Now, I'm not sure what Jason sells this for. I know it retails anywhere from like 18 to 24, depending on where you're buying it.
It's so light and smooth.
It is. It's very
It's
fresh.
easy to drink, lots of it.
Yeah, I know, which is why we brought up a
We have a
second
second
bottle to tap into, just in case this one
Just
goes
in
a little
case.
quickly, because everybody's thirsty, I think.
We're
Yeah.
feeling it. We're
I
feeling
know.
the heat.
Well, we're celebrating, this is a special
Yeah.
occasion, so.
So when I think about when I drink this wine and the image that comes to my head, guys, literally, it's sort of like being free in a meadow. So like sort of prancing through with minimal, maybe like a sundress or
A slip.
a slip. Yes,
I
a
love
slip.
that.
A slip.
Silky
Yeah.
satin.
Just sort of like without a care in the world, and so
Mhm.
you would have panties that match that.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
it is a goddess moment.
Goddess.
God, that's what I saw when I was drinking it. So
Okay.
it's your fancy free
I love it.
barefoot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
And of
definitely
course,
barefoot.
there's no sticks or stones.
Oh,
or
or bugs.
Right,
Or
right.
bugs, and the temperature is perfect, so there's no sweating.
There's no sweating. I got a full face on. It's not sweating off.
Exactly. So that's what you're gonna get when you drink the Le Sabier d'Etna.
Wow, I think it's lovely. So, what are your thoughts? What are your tasting notes?
I wish I was more, well versed in my wines, but I can paint a picture for you, okay? I'm on the beach. The Adriatic Sea is right there. I'm surrounded by beautiful Italian men that aren't toxic, and
That's a good
we're just
clarification.
out in the sun. I'm being fed grapes.
Ooh.
People are carrying me to the beach. They have a ring around me so I don't get attacked by any sharks. It's just very, very, very smooth, very sweet, very relaxed. And then I can get lit later on with a couple more bottles.
Yeah, it's very light. It'll take a few bottles, I think. Yeah. That's a nice picture. I'm curious about the description of you've got a ring around you so you don't get attacked by sharks. Like, is this a fear of yours? Are you like every time you go into the ocean?
So, yes, actually. So I was on tour a year ago from today in Italy in, oh my god, what was it called? In Pescara, Italy. So yeah, it's on the Adriatic Sea. And so one night we just got super drunk, my band and I, and we just went in the beach. We took off all of our clothes. We were skinny dipping in the Adriatic Sea, and my saxophonist cut his leg on the rocks. So we swam to these rocks. We were like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Because we're drunk and American.
An American in Italy. What else are we gonna do? The water is calling us. No, so yeah, we swam to these rocks. He cut his whole entire leg. To this day, he has the ugliest. It's not ugly, but it's a nasty scar that really hurt him. But yeah, and he was screaming, splashing. We're like, shut up! And then we obviously made it back to shore safely. But after that, you know, I probably like a couple months ago, I was like, let me like make sure there was like no sharks in the water, you know, just make sure. Because like my grandparents always told me there's no sharks in the Mediterranean, there's no sharks in the seas around Europe and stuff. I was like, okay. But yeah, I looked that up a month ago, and tell me why. I saw like there's over 40 different species of deadly sharks. There was an attack here in 2018.
Wow.
In the same sea.
Oh my gosh.
Where the person did not survive.
And they weren't even bleeding profusely.
And they weren't bleeding. They were screaming, thrashing the water, being all drunk and American.
The American moniker on that, I'm sure, made it like even more attractive for the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They've never seen that before. So I want to say like I'm a survivor, and I should have been interviewed for this week's Shark Week.
When sharks attack.
Yeah.
I lived a few years in Hawaii.
Oh my goodness.
When I was growing up, and like late 70s. So, but Jaws came out when we were living in Hawaii, and I remember being afraid to get in the swimming pool because I was for certain that the shark would swim underneath the island and then come up through the drain. It took a while before I was like, yeah, that's not really possible.
I mean, I think it's logical. I used to have the same thing with the bathtub in Missouri.
And the shark would like swim underneath and come up through the drain.
A leopard seal. I had a thing with leopard seals back in the day as well.
Are they predatory?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
They're the scariest things. They live in Antarctica, so we're never gonna see each other.
We don't have any.
Like the Arctic, yeah, they like to eat penguins and all those things. But like you think they're a cute little seal, but then they open their mouth. It's frightening.
It's toxic.
It's frightening. It's like in Happy Feet. I don't know if you've seen Happy Feet.
Oh
but
yeah.
That thing in Happy Feet with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have any shark scares? Or childhood myths about sharks?
No.
Gloria wasn't big on sharks?
I'm okay with water. I'm like,
that's impressive.
You know, I am. The ocean I think is a little terrifying just because it is so vast, and you know, I do like kind of prancing, to use your word from earlier, around or gallivanting around on a beach, but it does spook me how powerful the waves are and that kind of thing.
You can't see below.
I do remember one time snorkeling off of off of Key West out in the ocean there, and I got a little spooked because we were just swimming around and kind of like your friends, just woohoo, having fun. And I look down and I see a whole school of barracuda, which those are spooky looking. And that was
about them.
Right.
That made me get out of the water quickly. But I don't really have any particular watery hang-ups per se.
Yeah. We would. One of the other things we did in Hawaii, we would go. My parents learned to sail, so we would go out into Kaneohe Bay. This is on the island of Oahu, and we would sail on weekends. And my parents, we also would pick up coconuts out of the water. So like we'd see the coconut and then we'd crack open and we'd eat that in the sailboat. And what was really fun is when the dad would tilt the sailboat and our legs were hanging out, in the water, and it was going really fast. And one year, my cousins were visiting up from over from Alabama, and our legs were in the water. We're like, Dad, there's a coconut over there. Let's get. So my dad steers the boat or sails it over. As we get closer, my dad goes, "No, kids, that's not a coconut. That's a hammerhead shark."
Oh my god!
Oh no!
Our feet were back inside the boat.
Yes.
We're ready to go. We're ready to go back to the dock now. It sort of just changed the our feelings for the rest of the day.
Oh
But
god! Yeah.
I mean, it didn't get us, obviously. I'm sitting here. I have both in my feet.
Yeah.
You
All
know,
your limbs are intact.
all my limbs are intact. You know,
Yeah.
but so that was some good memories.
Mm-hmm.
Of,
So you were touring in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your first time touring through there, or is this like a regular part of when you're on tour? Do you hit Italy often? How did that feel going to the country that you have heritage in?
Yeah, so I had been to Italy a couple of times. My mom's from Sicily, so she won't say that she's Italian.
Yeah, right.
She doesn't say that.
There's a
Yeah.
difference
So, which I understand because, she's 69, and so like she was raised during the time like where they had a dialect and like anti-bilingual laws in America too. So it's very different, like the discrimination against Sicilians versus Italians. They look different, they're darker, all those things. So it's like it's an identity thing for her because it is her identity. But yeah,
When
I
did
never.
she come to the United States?
So my grandparents are from there.
Oh, your grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But so yeah, I never really spent time in Italy, the mainland. I've only been to Sicily, and that was great because the first time I went there, it was actually with my mom and my brother. So it was super special, and we had the chance to go all over the island and visit different cathedrals too, because my mom's super Catholic, and so that was important to her.
there's
And-
a lot of them there.
Yeah,
There's
there's
a lot.
quite a few.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah. So that was super special. But I had never gone to the north, so the north of Rome, and east as well. So that was super special. And every time I go there, it's a new city. So I'm super fortunate that I keep getting asked to come back. But so Italy's regular, Spain's regular, and those are my two countries in Europe.
So when COVID kind of started coming down, it was definitely in the world news. In Italy, it was very strong right before it hit here in the United States. Did you have family that were affected by it, and were you concerned for all the people you know?
No, I actually don't have any family that's living anymore over there.
And
so,
not because of COVID.
not because of no.
That's a terrible joke. That's a terrible joke.
No.
Sorry.
And it's not because of Miss Rona. But I have several friends that are there still, and they were, telling me, I don't know, when was that, like April, when it was really bad, like seeing just like military vehicles transporting body bags.
Oh my gosh,
Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. And my friend was over there telling me, he was like, this is the worst time of my life. I've never felt anything like this. And I was like, I'm sure it's going to be okay. Like, thinking that, because,
Yeah.
I mean, our leaders are telling us that it's not going to come here anytime soon, or that it's, like, going to go away.
Right.
So I'm like, it's going to be okay. Like, I'm sure you're going to be fine and everything. And now I completely empathize with him 100%. And my mom is a nurse. She's a registered nurse, and she's taking care of COVID patients right now. So it's like, it's harder because she's also in that demographic, she's
Right.
69, and, she's,
So there's always
Out
an
here.
underlying concern or worry for her.
yeah.
Yeah.
And without adequate PPE for
Right.
healthcare workers,
Yeah.
it's super scary. So I'm just happy like things are looking up over there right now because they were so hard hit, and they can breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
They also were much more severe on their quarantining than what we've done here.
Yeah.
I have to share, I was astounded to learn. I I was in Atlanta not too long ago, and of course it's a real problem there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just astounded at the number of people that basically said that it's a hoax, that it's a political issue, it's not real. And I'm just like, I actually know people that have died. Like, pretty sure this is not a hoax. Like, it just is amazing to me how when it's convenient for a certain political party to say that it's a hoax, that's one argument. And then, it's things like, oh, we're going to tamper with U.S. Post Office to make voting more difficult for mail-in ballots because we're afraid of the impact of those ballots. So it's like there's very clearly a fear about the impact of COVID and people not being able to, go about this process the right way. Just, I feel like these arguments are coming out of both sides of the mouth. When it's convenient for it to be a massive problem, we need to postpone the election because COVID is happening, they'll say that. And then it's like, oh, okay, we're not going to postpone the election. Well, then let's shut down, like, let's make mail-in ballots more challenging.
They're trying to make everything more challenging when it comes to the people's votes.
And it's funny because he's like telling on himself.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Right.
He's basically telling on himself, and he's obviously intimidated.
But he's also always said out loud what his intentions are, and he follows through with them, and he projects, and he's not held accountable for anything. So he's not afraid of telling you exactly his plans.
He's outright said he is pulling these sorting machines, 674 of them now, from the post office, these high volume sorting machines, pulling them to make the voting process more difficult when it comes to mail-in vote. He literally said it.
Yeah, it's not. I'm afraid. I'm definitely afraid of the tactics and the lengths that they will go to
interfere,
to interfere, or to try to remain in power, even if they are voted out. I mean, we need to look at the country of Belarus and how that whole country has come and protest against their authoritarian leader, and we need to take inspiration
absolutely
from them. We need to take to the streets and stay in the streets, keep the pressure on, and we need to support the Democratic Biden and Harris and Kamala. Even if that wasn't your first choice, you can't not vote, because if you don't vote,
I wish that I was excited, about this ticket. No, I'm not at all.
Why?
Because just like the ultimate like cognitive decline of Joe Biden makes me very worried. I mean, obviously Trump has no cognitive. Right. I mean, they're both senile, but just like, I think one versus the other, and I hate to say it, like, I feel like Trump could, stand on a stage longer and like spew whatever's going to make his audience, agree with him longer than Biden, and like be more direct with what he's saying, versus I don't feel like Biden has that ability. And I just like, I wish I could be happy for the first vice president, black female vice president. I'm happy because representation does matter, and I'm happy that young girls and boys will see that, and there's gonna be a first female vice president and a first black, but I just don't. I wish I was cool with her record. I wish I was cool with Biden's record, and not just like the restoration package from like Barack Obama.
Well, yeah, I know that that is something that people say and are concerned about. We just have to remember that I don't believe that Biden or Kamala are going to actively try to kill us. I don't think they're actively going to separate
Deny a
families
pandemic?
at the border.
Right.
You know,
And
they're not
there
gonna-
is like vast
So like
differences.
They are
right.
not, you know, they are not going to maneuver organizations so that we wake up without any rights.
Withdraw from the world.
When they're not going
Right.
to withdraw, they will actually,
Yeah.
will regain some credibility. But what we have to do is, because of all the strides that we have made in our protests and our demonstrations, is we have to keep that pressure on.
Exactly,
that-
to actually vote.
So, and also so that those changes that we want, like universal health care, basic, universal basic income,
Mm-hmm.
Free education, you know, I mean, if we can spend, the U.S. government can create the money wherever they want to create the money. And we have to keep that pressure on because we have a chance now. We have a chance. Because everything is so fucked up and so disruptive, that we can remake ourselves in the type of society we want to have.
Right.
So, yeah, they may not be somebody's ideal,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to remember they're not actively trying to kill you.
Put it in a bigger perspective.
Bigger perspective.
Mhm.
And, you know, if he doesn't, if Biden, you know, because of his age, doesn't make it out 4 years, I'm very comfortable with Kamala's intelligence.
I'm more comfortable with her, I would say, being the, you know, president than Joe.
and
I'm confident saying that.
yeah, well, and that's, I mean, I know that she was my first choice in the field of 27.
Right.
And I was sad that I didn't get a chance to vote for her because she had withdrawn, and then the next one withdrew, and it was like they all withdrew before it came to Missouri's primary, and I was like, I can't even vote for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, she made Brett Kavanaugh cry. She is.
That's
love.
amazing.
Okay, well, that's what I do love about Kamala. When that bitch is in the courtroom with these rapists,
Yeah.
with these just pieces of garbage.
Yeah.
She's giving it to them.
Yeah.
She's not holding back.
Or even the
She's
Attorney
a
General.
great prosecutor.
you know.
I mean, she's a great prosecutor. That's what she does. She
Yeah.
holds people accountable.
And
Is that why she was called a nasty woman?
of course.
Yeah.
Nasty woman is what I'm gonna get tattooed. Also, it's on my door. It's like I have a hanger that says nasty woman. Because ever since that debate with Hillary
Yeah.
and Dawn, it was just, oh my god, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the motto of nasty woman.
I loved your meme that you posted the other day, Michelle, and it was this little girl talking to her mother, and it was like, "Mommy, what's a nasty woman?"
Oh yes, I saw that. I saw that. It
Yeah.
was great.
And it's like, oh, it means we're getting shit done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're getting
Yeah.
shit did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
I hate
and
him so much.
like our listeners know that I hate him as much, and they still listen to us, so that's great. You know, the suburban housewives of the nation, you know, still listen to us. But I just think that we cannot take it for granted, and a vote for anybody but Biden is a vote for Dawn.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're okay with children in cages at the borders and police roaming our streets and capturing people off the side and, you know, taking them away to the unknown, if you're okay with being tear gassed because you're, you know, holding a sign that says, you know, that First Amendment right. If you're okay with, you know, 160,000 people dying unnecessarily from a virus that
We saw.
we had ample warning it was coming.
And being racist about it, the fuck?
Exactly.
Calling it the Chinese
It's only gonna hit the or their strategy was, well, it's only in the blue cities right now, so let them die.
How about the harboring of all the PPE that they like?
That's what's like
Right.
pissing me off.
And
Yeah.
and it's not like we haven't been doing this now for 5 months. You would think that we would have caught up on our supply.
We're the wealthiest country in this bitch on the planet, and like the
Are we?
people.
Are we still? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we might not
We have-
be once he's gone, because
Yeah.
he manages to bankrupt anything that he touches.
Well, yeah, but no, we have the the wealth gap, you know, is so disproportionate, and like the amount of billionaires that are in California, you know, like the fact that in our country alone, like a couple of billionaires could solve homelessness for the entire nation. Like
China has an awful lot of billionaires.
I don't know that China's
A lot.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I mean they have some astounding wealth there.
Yeah, I think Europe, China, and the United States have the highest.
There's definitely projections about, just from a retail perspective, like China way beyond America spending.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know the pure statistics either, but you know, you're right. Where there's plenty of wealth here, regardless of where we are, we first or second or whatever. There's plenty of wealth.
Our system has been designed to on the backs of poor people and to continue to oppress poor people, and to insulate the wealth from that. And we have a chance to change that, hopefully. But you know, I don't want us to get all down and,
I know.
And sad.
Can I just say on that last note, I went to court today for the first time ever. I went to Zoom court. It was hilarious. It was.
Were you on a jury?
No, I was in court. Like I was getting.
Ticket?
No, it was from a medical bill. Like in college.
Oh, okay. They took
in college. I didn't even like think about it. You know, I had like blood work done. I had like an X-ray and stuff.
That's the other thing. It's like they took you to court. The hospital industry, the medical industry,
seriously,
took you to court to get their money.
No, yeah, and so like I owed them like $700, which I can pay now. But on top of that, they're charging me for their court fees, their legal fees, their attorney fees, all like the time on Zoom. Yeah. So now I owe them like $1,400. And so I went in that bitch. I was like, oh no, honey, this is what we're not gonna do. I'm not gonna pay this $600 extra fee of collection of fees that you're charging me. And so yeah, I have to like send a follow-up email. But yeah, it was crazy. They had like all these people like in the Zoom meeting in the courtroom, like so people for different things. And I guess I was like in the hospital group because like they kept calling people's names, like St. Luke's, Barnes, like a Salute Hospital suing this person. It was like so fucking sad, but all I could do was laugh. Because there was one guy who was like keeping me very entertained because he had his video on. I don't think he knew. He had his video on. He was smoking a blunt in his car, listening to Young Thug. I was living, but I think like we had a moment because he was keeping me super entertained. But I wore my pajamas on the bottom and then like a nice like jacket and business turtleneck on top. They had no idea. Yeah. But it was pretty funny. It was so funny and just like a waste of my time and everyone's time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's just
anyways. You said poor people making money off of poor people. I was like, yeah, me like in college, like having no money to pay for this X-ray that y'all ordered me to get.
Right.
That I didn't know how it worked. You know, back then.
Right.
Like I had to pay for this. You ordered me to get an X-ray though.
Yeah. Well, I have a statement that I said to collections when I was going through my cancer treatment. So I was not like I had maybe 4 treatments in. I had to do 12. And they called me on a Saturday and they said, you're letting your bill get out of hand. And I said, but
what do you mean out of hand?
You're the one that set the prices. And I'm only doing what the doctor said.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, but your bill is getting too high. And I said, so you're just trying to kill me? Or are you afraid?
Yeah.
I said, you're afraid your treatment's not going to work and you want your money now. And so
I don't understand.
They sent it to collections, even though I was paying them more than what we had agreed upon. They still sent it to collections.
But while you're going through treatment,
while I was going through chemo,
isn't that like some violation of some like ethical?
There's no ethics.
I know there's no ethics, but like
in the billing department, there's no ethics.
I know there's no ethics, but at the same damn time, like a cancer treatment, like that's insane. It's like why I want to like move. I'm working on my citizenship.
Where are you?
Italy. Well, that's the only one I'm eligible for.
Okay.
Like, I'm automatically like granted it. So.
Okay. Well, then yes.
So I'm just like getting my passport. I'm just like applying for my passport.
How can we come with you?
You have to marry me.
Okay.
That's like.
Do they recognize same-sex marriages in Italy now?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think the majority of Europe.
They're gonna be like, oh, Emily only wants her green card.
Right, it's like 90 Day Fiancé, which I was watching before coming here. That show ever. But yeah.
What about polygamy? Can you have more than one wife?
I'm sure.
Okay.
But no, I don't know legally, but like we can figure it out.
Okay.
We can just make it a paper thing and
she
like
could just call herself a serial divorcee. I
Yes,
marry,
I would
I
love
divorce,
that.
I marry, I divorce. I don't know.
I would love that.
I can't be satisfied with just one woman,
Right.
just one man.
It's very Italian of
What
you,
the-
really.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to a lot of your music, and I note this weekend, and you sing in every language, it seems.
I wish. No.
Yeah.
I sing in English, Sicilian, and Spanish. Some Italian.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Do you have Spanish heritage as well?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. Everyone thinks I'm like Afro-Latina, and like I've had a bunch of like girls come up to me after our concert. They're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for like representing us," and like, you know, as like seeing a fellow Afro-Latina up there, you know, you're just giving me so much joy. And I'm like, "Oh my god, honey, I'm so sorry. I don't want to crush your dreams, but I'm so not Afro-Latina. I just speak Spanish. No, I'm Black and Italian," and they're like. And so they was like look at me completely differently, but yeah, no Latin heritage or Spanish or any of that.
And so, how many languages do you speak other than sing? Do you speak?
So I speak Spanish and Italian and English. So I'm learning. Yeah. So my grandparents taught me like the Sicilian dialect. That's what we would talk in. And so you know when I went to college, I met a bunch of like Italian people and like we were like a friend group and stuff. They were like, "Why are you talking like that?" He was like, "What's your last name?" I was like, "It's Saputo," and they're like, "Oh, okay." They're like, "You okay? So you're saying like that because you kind of sound like older, you know? Because it's like it's a dialect that's not used for real
Okay.
more, only like by older
It's
people."
not used anymore?
I don't think so. No, like when I go there, like there's like certain words that are like, completely different. I would
Give
compare
us
it
an
to.
example of like, you know, a word that in Italian is one way versus Sicilian. So just to understand the scope of difference.
Like ritorna in is it Italian for return or come back?
Yeah.
Oh, it's ritorno.
Oh, okay.
So like it's a weird like the endings are oo's or u's
Okay.
in Sicilian more than the o's in Italian, and there's some j's in there too, which is super weird. So it's like kind of like Eastern European, you know what I mean? Like where they use like if I was saying Sonia, like Sonia Morgan from Real Housewives of New York. Like Sonia is spelled with Sonja for the ya sound. We have some of that, like ayornu to like wake,
Oh, it does have an Eastern.
AJ or ORNU. So
Yeah.
it's weird. It's really
so
weird.
how would you say buongiorno? Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Just saying, no
Mhm.
change there.
Mm-hmm. But it's like it's the
I say ciao.
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 It's kind of like a note to it, but you know, yeah, it's like some words I completely learn differently. But I have been making an effort to watch more Italian, exclusively Italian, like shows and film, and you know, practice that more and read some of that too, because I don't want to be, you know, even though it's cute having that dialect is cute and everything, but you know, I want to be able to like sound like everybody else, you know, like of today.
Fair enough.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is.
So I'm still working on it because I'm not talking with my friends every day.
So you were bilingual growing up as a child.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah, I mean, English was my first language.
okay.
And whenever I went to my grandparents' house, I would just like try to talk to them as much as possible. It's like it seemed like, you know, I kind of felt like they regretted not making their children learn because you know at that time in the 60s you want to be as American as possible. You don't want.
Didn't you say there were also at that time there were laws?
Yeah.
Like preventing. That is.
Yeah, America's so effed. Like, you know, they're so xenophobic, and it's hilarious because, it's just like hilarious because like people will tell like black people to go back to Africa. or whatever.
Right.
It's like, bitch, we've been here longer than you, probably. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
how like and like also just like how other white people treat other immigrants. It's like yell over immigrants. You're not from here.
Right.
Like the whiter you are, it makes you look, you know, like you're not indigenous. You're not indigenous to this place. Like the more like not indigenous you are to this continent. So, but yeah, it's I was so happy that they, you know, wanted to take the time with me. You know, when I was little, my grandpa he spoke French as well. And he was trying to make me learn French. I just can't do that. So, they're like, okay, we're just gonna
it's
teach
a
you our
totally
tongue.
different sound, like the way your
Yeah.
mouth, the tongue, and all
Well,
of it.
because he was in
very
World War
different.
II, so he had to like learn that stuff as like a teenager. It's crazy.
But he was in Italy. He fought with the Italians.
Right.
He
There's
was-
Mussolini over there.
Oh man!
And then he also saw Hitler. Crazy shit.
Wow.
Crazy shit. He went to France. That's where he saw Hitler. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. I think about this because, you know, like when I was younger, I always wanted like a younger mom, younger parents. Because like my best friends, like their parents were like in their 30s, like when we were like 5 and like. You know, growing up and shit, and I'm like, now I got 30. Like that sounds like a nightmare. I can't imagine like having a kid right now for my kid to be 5 and then like I'm 30. Anyway, but I am like super fortunate because my mom had me when she was 43. I'm her last. I'm both my parents' last kid, but my dad was 50, and I know, and but then like my grandparents, his parents were sharecroppers, and then my grandparents on my mom's side, immigrants from Italy or Sicily, and you know, it's just like super crazy to think about.
Firsthand
Right.
stories. You know, you had firsthand oral history that
It's
was coming
crazy.
to you.
It's crazy because like, yeah, my dad got hosed by the police and like then became a
Police officer.
yeah, like a nightmare.
Wow.
A sheriff in San Diego when he wasn't deployed in the military. So he's a sniper in the Marines, like cuckoo, yeah. But
Wow.
but yeah,
I know
it's
your
just, like,
dad's a
crazy.
huge fan of our show, so if you
Oh
want
my
to give him a shout
god,
out.
dead. No, absolutely not. But yeah, and like just having old parents is like kind of dope at this point because of, you know, them telling me, at least my mom telling me how this is just like repeating.
Yeah,
shit's
of course.
scary.
Yeah.
Like how it's repeating and just like same shit, different day. You know what I mean? Like as far as these protests.
So how is this influencing your music? This time and having access to this amazing history and heritage, like does that inspire the songs that you're writing or
Yeah,
behind your
absolutely.
music?
Like absolutely, because I was fortunate to have older parents and that they could introduce me to artists that a lot of my peers don't know. And, you know, I was able to listen to these amazing records. Like, my dad had an amazing record collection. And I was able to listen to it and, you know, learn from, like, what is happening and who these people are and what this song actually means. Like, Marvin Gaye's song, like, what's going on in my 10-year-old brain is like, okay, it's just like a love song or something. I don't know.
Right.
An everything love song. And my dad explained to me, I'm like, this shit happened. And, you know, it's very influential. And, you know, I think I pull from all these artists that they introduced me to. Like my mom.
What are some pivotal ones for you?
I would say Motown was the main genre, I think, that brought my parents together, to be honest. And, you know, because, like, my mom was, like, into, like, classic rock, you know, folk music and symphonic music. And my dad was more into blues, jazz, and, I would say rock, but a little bit of rock and, like, Latin music. And then, but what brought them together was the Motown. And I think that's because, like, Motown is that genre that just brings everybody together. It's fucking happy while talking about real shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that was the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Supremes.
Right.
All of these fabulous, Smokey Robinson.
Right.
All these fabulous artists singing their asses off, dancing their asses off while talking about what is happening right now. It's very, very, it's very important because my parents would talk about what they were talking about. It wasn't
They
just
put it
music.
in context for you.
Absolutely, because I didn't know, like,
Yeah.
what's a protest? I don't know what that means, like, you know, when I at that age. So it was
I
very important.
remember discovering Nina Simone, and hearing her lyrics, like actually listening to her music. She's amazing. Nina Simone was classically trained pianist, studied Juilliard, and then of course, jazz, right? So, but the first album that I had of hers that has Backlash Blues on it was so powerful for me, because when I discovered her, I was still living in Peoria, Illinois. I was still my perspective on we've talked about this on other shows, like just other social dynamics. It was very limited there. Right? I was not exposed to what I've been exposed to by coming to St. Louis. And so by hearing that song, and she's talking about, America and white people building their lives off of the back of Black people. And I found it, I listened to it over and over, and I started thinking about it, and it really kind of led me down this train of trying to understand what really happened, like with these areas, these neighborhoods that, were kind of intentionally segregated, and the lack of, financial support that they'd get for, refinancing homes and buying in homes.
It's so gross, and it's so deliberate.
It is.
Once you learn about it.
And that's not something that we were taught or talked about. And it was really the first time that I started asking questions about that. It was powerful
because
for
of
me.
your exposure to her.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice. And because she was taking this moment to turn beautiful music into a poignant statement about, about the reality for a lot of people.
And I think,
in our United States.
Yeah, I love that you bring her up, because she was one of my main influences, being a Black woman performer and being classically trained, and then writing her own songs. That was super inspiring to me, because I love to play like dead white guy music. I love it. I'm not gonna lie. I love Tchaikovsky. I love Rachmaninoff. I love all those girls. But it was still limiting, because you can only do so much with, those notes on the page that you're reading, and you can only make it your own so much, So she was super inspiring to me once I found out that she was a classically trained pianist, and that she was able to write her own songs, and actually say something with those songs too, and reach so many people that don't look like her too, and go to Paris, and go to Europe, go to Sweden, Switzerland, and educate these people overseas, through her music. It's super inspiring to me.
Well, I not as I don't have the breadth of music education as you and Emily have, but my understanding is that music has often been the way that protest can happen, even in the 60s, in the folk music and things like that. Sometimes it's the only way that we can express ourselves when everything else is coming, where you feel your world is falling apart, or you don't know how you're going to stand up or rise up to fight one more day, right? And then you hear the song that the artist has written about the time, and you identify, and you're inspired, and you keep going to work hard to attain that goal. And I think that hopefully through our Corona times, our Donald times, that I'm hoping more protest music happens. More artists will take what we've all experiencing and put it into something we can not this, the word's not really enjoy, but honor.
Kind of encapsulate,
but also be like, that the way that she's described it is exactly how I felt, and I'm so grateful that came through, because I didn't know how else to describe it.
music and art. I mean, think about, throughout history, the artists that were also, painting the expression of how they were feeling of oppression or, various issues at the time that they were creating. It is a powerful
It's a reflection
way.
of time.
It's
That's
almost
the definition.
like
It's
sort of like subversive. Yeah, you see that little, in that painting, what that painting's really about,
right.
Like, oh, now I get it,
Exactly.
You listen to the music, what it's really about, and it can't be taken away, if it's underground in a way, it's and it links everybody. I mean, music and art are music is art, it's universal. It's a universal language.
Right.
There's this a musician out of, I don't remember what part of Africa. His name's Tumani Dabati. Oh my god, I love his music. It sounds very happy when you listen to it, but when you read the translation of the lyrics, it's all really talking about about the struggles, the war, the struggle with the AIDS epidemic, and just all of this. He's doing that very thing. He's
very interesting.
educating the world on these massive issues, but making it putting it out there in an approachable way.
Right.
Well, you have to, because if it's too avant-garde or too dark or too like, wait a second, that doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard before, then people won't listen to it. But the masters are able to take that genre, we're like, jumping around dancing,
right,
and then put the words in there. I mean, this just reminded me of that song Happy Mondays. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do.
And that's about like school shootings.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And I didn't even like realize it as I'm in my car and I'm singing along to it, and it's like, oh wait,
I don't think I knew that.
If I listen to the lyrics, it's about school shootings.
Oh my
Who's it by?
god.
The band is Happy Mondays.
Oh.
I'll have to look on our break, what the name of that one song was, but it took me a quick minute, and then I was like, oh, this isn't. I mean, the beat, I want to dance to it, but the message in there isn't quite match the beat.
Do you have
but it works
songs like that where it's like, okay, the beat is one thing, but there's an inner beat to this that's different?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've been able to do that yet. I love when artists do that. It's a whole juxtaposition.
Yeah.
But I don't think
I think your song alone is
probably the
pretty
closest thing.
close to that. Because
actually, now that you say it, my music more than I do.
I did my research this weekend, making sure I was prepared.
I would say that song is the closest thing. But as far as like, I worked with a producer on that EP, so like he kind of presented me with the beats and all the stuff I could not do ever. We collaborated in that way. But as far as like writing the music and then writing the lyrics as well, I don't think I have that.
What is your process? Do you usually start with lyrics, or do you start with the melody or with the
So it's changed over time, honestly. I always wrote. I was always a writer, and I was encouraged in my family, write out your feelings, and put it into a poem or something. I was like, okay. And so I just like had all these poems and stuff from when I was very little, and I was like asking when my dad would, start conversations with me, like listening to people and like different jazz composers and being like, do you think they wrote the lyrics first or the music first? I was like, I don't know, I feel like it'd be easier to write the words. And so that's what I used to do early on in my songwriting. But now it's been the opposite. I've I've played some chords and jammed over some things with my band, and that has created the skeleton of the song with the music part, and then later on I try to put in the words.
I like that idea. I mean, I think there are just times where your feelings don't necessarily have words, and I think that's when music can really help maybe create a dialogue for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been interesting because I usually am like a very alone, writer. I write by myself. I don't really collaborate with anyone. But this next record, it's only collaboration. With my band. So I am really looking forward to that and seeing how I can grow as a writer with them.
Are you in the recording process of that new album?
I wish we were. Oh my God. I wish we were. Yes. Oh my God, Miss Rona is out here trying to snatch our wigs. But yeah, she's trying to make us look so ugly. But no, I wish I was. Usually our label flies us out to San Francisco to record in their facility, and they're in control, and they have their producers, they have their engineers, and everybody's so nice there. But
you're with Empire, is that right? That's a serious label.
Yeah, I love a lot of people on that label, like Snoop Dogg.
I was just gonna say, like,
Kendrick
Snoop
Lamar.
is on that label.
Yeah.
Like, that's a deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they're super, super nice. I get full artistic control.
Nice.
Besides, obviously, like recording, like
Flying out
at
to
home.
San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's tough. It's first world problems.
Yeah.
It's famous musician problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, so we're not able to do that right now, but I think we're gonna figure out something soon. Yeah, because we can't just be sitting on all this stuff, waiting for there to be better policy.
Well, right, and it's, people are going to be hungry. They're going to continue to they're going to need the music. So would you be interested in playing a little bit of your music
Absolutely.
to go into a break here and
Absolutely.
maybe get some more wine and
Let's I'm gonna turn
sure.
our little camera around.
Sure. Yeah, you just take a seat.
Can you share with us what you're gonna perform first for us?
So I'm going to perform one of my songs off of my latest record, Saint Lost, and this song is called Adam Lee. When you were young, did you play on the beach, picking up sea glass, don't cut your feet? When you were young, did you ask about girls or play with the boys who didn't look a thing like you? Oh, yeah. When you were young, did you catch lightning bugs or play ball in the street in your car? Were you allowed to play on the lawn, or did you mess up your mama's garden? What scares you don't scare me. I have you back to your feet. I am you and me. We're sure something. Adam Lee. Adam Lee. Now that we're old, let's play on the beach, picking up sea glass, don't cut your feet. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, on that note, I definitely need a refill.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. That was lovely.
Thank you.
I
I
wonder,
went, like-
should we roll back in with the song too? Would you
Oh, shoot,
mind?
yeah. Yeah, no.
Like, when we roll back in, have a song and then maybe another one towards the end.
Or if you want to play half of that out, fade out, and fade back in with the rest of it, and then another one at the
I
end.
think it should be. People should get the full experience. I do. It's so pretty.
What do you think it's Sam?
Play more music.
I agree.
So good.
I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I you know, it's special.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So another one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. We can cue it up. We can be like, well, we just love that so much. We'll just have fun with it.
Well, we'll just say, she'll play it and then we're back.
Yeah. Do we want to?
Yeah, I think we should open up.
Yeah.
And I have, Sam, would you bring those IKEA glasses over, please? It's so cold today.
It is. I know. I noticed we thought ahead on that.
Yeah. Would you like any Prosecco?
Sure.
I don't think we gave you any. Of the
We
wine.
did. Sorry about that.
You know the joke that's somebody has to make about these glasses?
What did you say?
Did you have to put them together? That's the dash joke that you have to make about those glasses. They're from IKEA.
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
I guess not.
No, that was funny. It took me a second. That's all.
It's this damn face mask.
I know.
The dry humor does not work with the face mask.
I don't hear well, and I didn't. Perfect.
Amazing.
We also had to cut our budget for the Uber to take us home, so you're on your own. Had to let the interns go because of Miss Rona. No more Uber.
Absolutely.
Or I just call my 17-year-old Meg's little brother. He'll pick us up and drive us all home.
Yeah, make the new drivers drive everywhere.
He did drive myself and three of my other girlfriends home one night, and he was like, "This is, I don't ever do that again, Mom." But 40 and 50-year-old women.
Hearing stories.
Gotta
I don't
get
wanna
used to
hear.
Right. Get used to it,
Hearing
bitch. I'm just
about
kidding.
40-year-old body parts I don't want to hear about.
Well,
Well, at
you
least
gotta get used to it. You gotta learn about it sometime.
he did get Venmo'd money for the drive and stuff. So
Yes.
That's
that
nice.
was good.
That is nice.
You got a tip.
But he is an old soul, and my friends all like him, and they tell him things. They're these middle-aged women, and like one friend called or texted me. She goes, "Let William know I went ahead and broke up with Rich," and I'm like,
Oh no!
I'm like, okay.
No.
So I texted
Not breaking
William.
up with Rich.
I texted William, and he's like, "And I need to know why." And I go, "I don't know." He's like, "She wanted me to let you know, I guess, because she had consulted you and
Feelings
talked about
for
it."
you.
No, she didn't have feelings for him. It's
Yeah.
more like, I told you all I was going to break up with him, and
That's so funny.
And another friend, she's like, "I need to go pick tile shopping this weekend. I want. Is William available? Because we have so much fun at Home Depot picking stuff out."
He
Aww.
must be like a great listener.
He is
That's
a great listener.
Importante.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's intuitive. He can anticipate like what I need. Like he can sense it.
Oh, he is an old soul.
He is.
He knows his mind.
He does.
That's so cute.
I'll be very sad when he goes off to college next
Aw.
year.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Alright. You queued up with your double fisting over there.
Would you like to sing one of your Spanish songs?
I wish I could. I just don't know anything on guitar.
Oh, they're all bass.
Yeah.
Let me look at your
Whatever you.
It may become my discography.
Is Saint Lost about St. Louis?
Yeah. The song itself a little less, but everything on the album is basically.
And you have the song Quizás. That sounded familiar.
Quizás.
Is it
Yeah. It's so the English.
Cuando. It's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's there's an English version. It's called Perhaps.
Perhaps. Okay.
Yeah, that's the English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cuando, and so the other one is it is also Cuando.
I think
is
maybe
one version of it.
Yeah, I guess.
And who used Perhaps in a opener for a television program? That's probably where I saw it. Perhaps.
Perhaps.
It wasn't Mad Men, but it's along in that area. It was probably British.
Perhaps.
Okay.
I finished my white wine. It was very good.
I'm closely behind you.
Very good.
Okay.
You got something?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice silence.
I can't believe Sam prefers music over our voices.
Over our chit-chat.
I mean, I can't believe it. Yeah, this is, yeah, absolutely.
So Sam, just let us know when you're ready for us to cue it back in. And we're back.
Yeah, we've got a little bit more bubbles here, and another song by Tonina.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You were made for me, not for me. The way you knocked me by your bedroom door, the way you looked, it made me sore. When I came knocking, you said I looked like a changed girl. And I said, how about you come back a changed man? You got me mistaken for someone who wasn't making you happy. Don't think about coming to my bed. I meant every word I said. Didn't occur to me that I wasn't making you happy. Wasn't making you happy now. Something that I was missing. I didn't listen to myself. How could I forget where I came from? You got me mistaken for someone who wasn't making you happy. Don't think about coming to my bed. I meant every word I said. It didn't occur to me that I wasn't making you happy now. I wasn't making you happy. I wasn't making you happy now. I wasn't making you happy now. I wasn't making you happy now.
The crowd goes wild.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
that is beautiful, beautiful,
Thank
Tina.
you so much. Thank
We're
you.
truly honored to have you sharing your music with us.
Oh,
you
thank
know,
you.
right
I'm
here
happy
in
that
the
you enjoyed
studio.
it.
Of course. And I held back. I let you just sing your own song. I didn't try to sing along with you. So
Next time you can sing along. I don't care.
I'm a very good backup dancer too.
Oh, I love that. I
You
need
know.
some backup dancers.
You know, if you
I
your
live.
next tour that you do
Let's
around
make it
Europe,
happen.
I was definitely doing some air cello.
Mm.
What I thought I could do
This is
in
good.
background. Yeah.
We love a good air cello. I've done it many a time.
Yeah.
Also, air violin because I'm a closet violin player.
I see. Yeah, that surprises me.
I'm a closet
It
violinist.
does.
what instruments do you play? What all?
I just play guitar and bass, but like, in my soul, I'm a violinist as well. And I think that's because my sister played, and I just always thought it was so beautiful, so elegant. It's so like dainty and so cute. Like you like whip your hair back and forth, you know.
It's such a different persona, though. Like, you know, the violinist, you know, the higher sounds,
Mhm.
right? It, to me, equates to energy and right. Where the bass, which you know
It's
you play so
so
well, it's sultry and inviting and
it's
like,
so laid back. It's
Yeah,
it's in
it's
the
a different
back here.
energy.
It's not about you.
So how did you pick the bass?
I wanted to play Jaws first of all.
Like-
Speaking of Jaws,
And sharks.
it's
It was,
all
was
coming
it
back.
part of your therapy to get over sharks?
Absolutely no. I wanted to play Jaws. I was like, Dad, what instrument is that? He's like, it's the bass. And I was like, I'm gonna play that. He's like, no, you're not. You're gonna play the violin like your sister. I was like, okay. And then at school, I just like circled bass because I knew she was always gonna be better than me. You know, I didn't want the smoke. I didn't want the competition with her. You know, she was amazing at her
Does she
instrument.
still play?
No.
Oh.
She doesn't. Yeah, she's a social worker.
Okay.
So
How cool would that be to
she's
do
doing
like a
better
collaboration with her? You know.
it'd be, I don't know, like it'd be really, really interesting to collab with my fam.
Yeah, 'cause
it's-
you come from a musical family.
I know we're
right?
super musical, and it's so important in our family.
You're like a really odd version of the Partridge Family.
Oh, I love that. Or the Jacksons without the abuse, hopefully. But
Hopefully you're a little older now.
Right.
You can like say no to it.
But
you know.
yeah, so I was at my brother's last month or a couple months ago in Santa Monica. I went to visit him and his partner, and we jammed for the first time together. And he's a drummer, so it was really, really fun. And it was just like, you know, he was like all shy about it and all weird at first, but then, you know, he loosened up, and it was a really cool experience. I want to do it again, the whole fam.
Your dad went to Juilliard, right?
He got into Juilliard, but
Okay.
he had to go to Vietnam instead.
Oh.
So
Oh my.
that's fun.
Because I had to fight for democracy around the world so that we could, you know, have it
Democracy
safe here at home.
democracy for white people, for white men, and yeah, that's just the thing that like fucks me up, you know, is like the demographics of who were sent and who like still now go to these wars. You know, like indigenous people, Mexican or Latino people, and then black people are the majority of people that were sent over, you know, and still today it's like low income families, you know, our military families, and you know, it's fucked up. But yeah, so he couldn't pursue his musical dreams and went to Vietnam
But
instead.
he was able to impart his love of music with his kids
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and support you in your dream. Right? Maybe?
Kind of in like a weird
in a
way.
really roundabout way. You know, since he is our number one fan. Of
LOL.
this
Oh my god, that
podcast.
is so funny. It's like I don't even like know. Like that'd be so weird. It's like not, especially like not talking to him for like a decade and a half or something, and then like finding out like
Like him
hey, I
send you an
heard you.
email.
He's like that's what's gonna make him call me. No.
So you have not talked to your dad for a decade.
No. No. It's a decade. Last time I saw him when I was 14. So 10 years ago.
Do you care to share?
No, I'm an open book.
Okay, so what has happened where you don't have a an active relationship with him right now?
Yeah, so I still love my dad, will always love him, and I feel like you know, he loved me in how he knew how to love, which, you know, some people could interpret as not being loved, and that's not how they want to be loved. But, you know, my dad was my best friend growing up. He, you know, I wanted to be in the military just like him. I wanted, you know, travel the world just like him. I wanted to speak as many languages as him, you know, play like him. You know, we were best friends. And, you know, he was deployed to Kosovo, and yeah. So that was like when I was in elementary school or something. And, you know, he was gone for a couple of years. And then when he came back, he was just like a completely different, you know, he wasn't my dad anymore, you know?
Sure.
And and that for me was the moment, like I remember like throwing out the rest of my like dinner or whatever, and then him freaking out, being like, there's kids in Kosovo, you know, that would love to be where you are, and you're gonna throw it, and like made me, you know, eat the shit out the trash, you know what I mean? Like crazy, just like crazy shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't understand at the time, so I was just like so scared and just like so fearful, and like I felt like I lost my best friend, and but like as I grew up and being in therapy for like ever, I learned, you know, not to make excuses for like any abusive behavior, but you know, I'm so anti-military. Obviously, we're always gonna have one, but you know, the way that we train people to not have their identity, to strip themselves of their identity and to become machines, to enact these war crimes on, you know, on innocent people, you know, in different countries. I feel like it is a product of, you know, what the military is. He became a product of that, and to succeed in that, you have to succeed in the military, you have to become a machine. You have to not have empathy anymore. It feels like, and that's my perspective.
And then how do you get that back? If you were trained to strip that away so that you could function in these extremely terrible situations, then you're supposed to re-submerge into normal society and family life again. How do you turn that switch off?
Exactly, and that's why I wish there was like adequate rehabilitation for coming back into this bitch, especially after Vietnam. Like, you know, he told me that was hard for him and stuff.
He was enlisted. I must say, he was enlisted. So yeah. So coming back. Marine or Army?
Marine.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's weird because when he was drafted, I guess, enlisted, he was Air Force. I mean, they just put him in there. I don't know how that works. I don't know how any of this shit works. But then, like, in my life, he was a Marine.
Okay.
So he was like a sergeant.
Yeah.
Special forces. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So that was his thing. But yeah, there's no rehabilitation, and especially like macho black guy from the South, you're not gonna be open to therapy. You know.
Well, and
at that time.
What's interesting is that the effects of conflict, the effects of war, it's something that has been around since war. And we even, you know, discovered during this podcast, we were making, you know, tongue-in-cheek about it on one of our time of the month shows about, you know, back in the 50s when the women were being counseled to meet your husband at the door with a drink, make sure the kids are taken care of. It was and dinner's on the table. It was actually a coping mechanism because you didn't know what post-war what that husband was going to be walking through the door with. What maybe PTSD, which we didn't say PTSD.
Right.
Well, that was the effects of the Korean War at that point in time, right? So we have as women have been trying to I'm speaking in a generality here.
Mhm.
I know there's always unique, different circumstances, but we've been trying to cope with those effects of war and those effects of trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and PTSD is something that, unless treated, doesn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't go away, and it doesn't go away with treatment. It becomes manageable. It becomes recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry that you, as a 14-year-old girl, saw your dad not be who you remembered your dad
Mm-hmm.
was. And I'm sorry that has impacted your relationship today because of his inability to even know that he has an issue, because sometimes they don't know.
They don't. They're so in denial, and it's like it's just so normalized, so scary to become this machine.
Yeah,
it's like pawn in somebody else's.
It is,
game.
and it's and we do a tremendous disservice to our veterans when we ignore the long-lasting effects of conflict and war, and we've sent them to places where they've seen things that you and I would never want to ever see in our lifetime, and that is lingering.
Right.
We can be affected by a movie called Jaws,
Right.
Literally,
right?
literally,
And we didn't actually go into a war
See
zone
those horrors.
and see the horrors of war.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not making excuses or
Right,
anything
of
like
course.
that. I'm just trying to put like a little level of explanation with it, and hopefully, because like you said, we're always going to have a military.
Mm-hmm.
I have hope that because of the conversation today and the awareness and the efforts and the focus, because we have too many of our veterans that have come back from Afghanistan. They're dying by suicide.
Oh,
All of
homeless.
these
A
homeless.
lot of
Homelessness,
homeless
it's so
people,
ridiculous.
you
It's
know.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that because there's focus and there's light on it, that things will change for current veterans and future veterans.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know where your dad is? Do you have are you very disconnected, or are you?
Yeah,
you are.
I don't know. I don't know if he's still living. Because
Really?
Well, my mom said I would get some notification about that in the mail from I don't know who, maybe the military or the sheriff's department. I don't know where he used to work or something. But I mean, when
Do you ever look for him on Facebook or anything?
I
like
can't
that?
do that. I'm too unstable.
And your
I'll have a
siblings?
freak out. So yeah, I have 4 siblings on his side, 3
And
siblings
are
on
any
mine.
of them?
I don't think so. No,
Yeah.
because he was I learned from one of my sisters on their side. I don't talk to any of them today, but we're friends on Facebook, but we don't talk or anything. A couple of them, and I learned that he was super abusive to them as well. We just had different lives. I'm way younger than
You're
them,
youngest,
and we didn't live together. We weren't raised together. And so I'm sure his abuse was gonna come out whether he was went to deploy in Kosovo or not. During him being my dad.
When you talk about your abuse, was it? Do you mind? I mean, you say you're.
I know. Yeah. No.
Ask
Honestly.
the question. And of course, if you get uncomfortable, please,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. Physical, verbal, all of it. Yeah.
So yeah, it was very much physical, and then he wasn't really verbally abusive, which is weird because physically abusive, how can you not be verbally abusive? But he would just hit me hella hard, and which was
And this is your best friend.
yeah,
Right.
this is post war, so
Right.
he was no longer my best friend. So he came back when I was in so I think he was gone when I was in 1st grade, came back in 3rd grade. 3rd grade or 4th grade, and then he was gonna go to Iraq. But I don't think he ever made it there because he had heart disease, and so which he didn't believe in. So he's anti-medication, macho shithead. So he couldn't go. Then I was like I remember hoping and like praying that he would go to Iraq. Like, please go. Like, I don't want you here no more. But yeah, he would, make me stand outside in the snow, like bare feet, stand out there for like 30 minutes to an hour, because I did something wrong. But it was just like for dumb shit, and it's like very normalized though in like our community. Like I would say, like the Black community of like, hitting your kids, spanking or something like. So I never felt like it was wrong. I knew it hurt.
You didn't know any better.
Right. And I knew it hurt, and but it wasn't until like I grew up and I was like looking back and then like going to therapy, and like what sucks is like, my mom being in that position, her being, abused woman herself,
Did you see that happening to your mom also?
I saw it, yeah, a couple of times when I was old enough to like understand like what was happening. But my mom was like a hardworking bitch. Like she was working 12-hour shifts at SLU ER, and so I would hate to be left alone with him because yeah, I was so scared. I would just like want my mom to come back because like it was less when she was around, and I would tell her and she would always believe me and stuff. So she never didn't believe me, but she was in such a hard position because she had to go to work.
Was she afraid of him?
Mm-hmm.
Afraid that, okay.
She was afraid of him, but she would stand up for herself sometimes, and but it's just like it's not gonna end well.
They eventually divorced.
Yeah. So
when you were 14, or
yeah, when I was 14, we have a order of protection against him.
Okay.
So like at my 8th grade graduation and my confirmation was the same night. Big night for me. my peak. But no, but like yeah, so like that night he just like whipped out one of his guns and like he had fucking AKs and shit in the garage and like machetes and crazy shit from war. I'm just like, how does this shit pass TSA? Like I think because like he was such a high ranking member of the military, like you can do whatever the fuck you want, know. And so long story long, he he was like shooting up the house or his car, and then
did he also abuse alcohol?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't even like say
Okay.
that. Yeah, he was a major alcoholic.
Okay.
And that was, I think he was an alcoholic for the majority of his life. So like when he was a teenager, because pre-military, yeah. Because like his family was, and alcoholism runs in my family really deep, and other addictions. So, he was alcoholic and he would drink all the time. And I remember like him picking me up like from school, like drunk, like blacked, but he was high functioning, because he would pour it in his coffee with Jim Beam in his coffee, and like he'd be driving with his coffee, but like that fucker could like drive and fool anybody. But like I remember like smelling something weird in the car. I'm like, why does it smell like that? It smells like the doctor's office, like something like you put on the skin or something. Like I smell some nasty shit. Don't smell like coffee. He's like, you can't drink that. Don't have any. And he would make me my own coffee, my own decaf coffee, because I wanted to be like him. But yeah.
So just shooting up cars with his guns.
Literally.
14,
and then you've just
been confirmed by
I know, and then like
church.
This is what happens. You're gonna die like Jesus. No.
You're like, thank God I have my confirmation name.
I know, and I can go right to heaven.
Right
I'm a
to
soldier of Christ. No, but
At what point did you start getting therapy?
I was in therapy. My mom put me in that thing when I was like 8 years old or something, because like I was an evil little demon, I would bite the shit out of kids, and I would smack the shit out of people. I would hit people. I literally I was just acting on what I saw at home, and I was so angry. I was so angry all the time. I just wanted my parents to be something that they weren't.
You were crushed because your dad and your parent, you were let down. Yeah, so let down, and then also I didn't have a dad during these times too, because he was in Kosovo, and I didn't have anyone talk to really, other than like my mom. It's like one of my best friends. I love my mom, but he was my best friend at that time, so it wasn't the same.
And I missed him so much, and I would just, like, you know, act out. And then even when he came back home, I was still acting out, like, fighting everybody. So, yeah, I had a lot of anger issues, but, like, we got that order of protection, and I talked to him maybe 2 times after that in high school, my freshman year of high school, and he sent me, like, $1,000, and then deuces.
Nothing else.
Well, I think your
Wow.
therapy must be working wonders because you definitely don't exude any sort of energy of anger. And it's really wonderful to watch you perform because I feel like we see the full authentic you when you're performing. And I see just this really like love and peacefulness on your face that is really tremendous.
Thank you.
And I think that's it. That's the real Tonina.
I try to exude that, you know, because I feel like that's what my mom is, you know. I feel like that's all she does. Talk about a saint. This bitch is like, what's like the closest thing to a nun, but without being a nun? Are y'all Catholic? I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, I was
assuming.
raised Catholic.
Okay, I'm assuming. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know. She's like in the lady order, like order lady something. But yeah,
The sodality. The
Yes.
sodality.
She's the lady salad. She goes to her little dinners monthly.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But no, but that's who she is, and so she's like a huge inspiration to me, and just being just fucking nice to people.
Well, I would, you know, I'm not a therapist. I just play one on my podcast with Emily here. I would think that faith was how your mom probably coped with a lot of the situations that she was put in with, you know, the marriage to your dad,
Absolutely.
the abuse and stuff like that. And then maybe you're coping after you realize that biting and punching and kicking people in grade school wasn't working. Was you got into music? You know?
I agree, and I felt like that was my safe zone, you know, and you know, it's always been my safe zone, my practice room, because like he would never bother me when I was in there. He would
He respected
call.
that space.
He respected the space, and I think because he had spent so many hours in that space himself and knew how important that shit was for like his own practice. But he would never bother me, but like when he did like pop in to check in, he would, you know, try to help me, which is like weird because like he would say, I mean, he would piss me the fuck off because he'd be like, do it again, it's not good enough, do it again, it's not good enough, do it again, it's not good enough. So
but he
knew.
you then.
No, I was completely safe. I feel like my bass was like my protector.
No wonder
you
you
know?
chose the bass. I mean,
It's very comforting, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
Between
comforting as
you
fuck.
and somebody else. It's yeah.
And he's my everything. Like my bass.
What's your bass's name?
Chauncey.
Chauncey.
He's from Kansas City.
Okay.
You have a name like that, of course. He'd be
Yeah,
from
he's
Kansas.
like or France. Or France. He can be from France. But no, yeah, Chauncey has always been my protector, and that's why we have such a close and great relationship. And so yeah, music has really been my therapy. And I think it's therapeutic for others as well.
When you were studying pre-Berklee, your teachers here, did they know that you would end up where you are? Were you getting this like, okay, we need to make sure that you have the training that you need because you're going to go far? Were they aware?
I think they were, because I was so grateful. I'm so grateful to the St. Louis Symphony members. I'm so grateful to my the Kirkwood School District Music organization.
It's a great school.
And I was happy to go there, and I had free lessons. You know, I paid some for like the symphony members if I wanted exclusive like master class or something, and take advantage of those opportunities. But as far as my weekly lessons, that was all free for me.
Nice.
And I was, and so I think they must have known like how happy it made me, and like why I would, you know, spend hours after school had ended, you know, in the practice room rather than going home, because I wanted to like meet my mom. I wanted to make sure I was coming home when my mom was coming home, you know, so she could be there with me. But I think they sensed that, and they knew that, you know, teachers have like, the good teachers at least have a sense of like their kids' home lives, And I think they sensed that. And I think they really wanted to make sure I was good and I was able to do something that I loved and not have it do anything with money.
Right. Yeah, we have a connection point there with the St. Louis Symphony teachers, because I know that you studied with a mutual friend, Eric, and his wife. You studied yoga with her, and Heidi was on our show.
Yes, she was.
Is a friend of ours, and so it's just
I
I love that's something that I do love about St. Louis.
The connection.
Well, and then one of your besties is Willow, which is my daughter's bestie from high school.
That's
so
right.
if you ever wanted to know what it was like to have a mom that was close in age, that's me. I could have been your mom, you know. So, I mean, thankfully you have a mom who's older and can give you lots more wisdom, and stories and stuff like that. But
I think that is such a beautiful thing about having older parents is that.
Well, and I have young parents. My parents are 21 and 22 years older than me, and my mom was so funny. She said the other day, she goes, I always thought it was great having kids when I was young, but now we're all getting old together.
That's crazy.
And who's going to take care of me, my mom said, because, you know, I'm only 21 years younger than my mom. I'm like, I guess my kids are going to take care
That's so
of us.
crazy.
Kids are going to be busy.
Yeah, that's like one of my siblings to you. It's like 21 years difference.
Oh, between you and your other sibling? Yeah.
Okay, I have
That's
a couple
funny.
questions here.
Okay.
It's a fangirl question. So, 2018, Obama pick of music on his playlist. What was that like to learn that
the president
knows who you are?
Insane.
And you're like top pick of music.
Insane. I was like, who told this man who I was? Thank you. It was surreal. I lost all function in my lower body.
Which meant she got like weak legs, not that she
Not
peed.
that
I don't want to pee in my bed or anything. No, but I remember like yelling to my roommates. I was like, "You guys, is this a joke?" And I was like,
"This is not a very fun joke."
It's like this is not funny. And like I remember just like falling down the stairs, just like running down to my roommates and stuff. So it was a joyous moment.
Which also means that Michelle Obama
knows
that's
who you are.
Michelle and Bo the dog and Sasha Malia.
And that is some late night music for them. I mean, that's kind of exciting, right?
I hope they're doing something to it.
I mean,
I hope they're doing something to it. That's all I gotta say.
They're making the world right.
Okay.
Music, you know.
If any couple's gonna do it, I want it to be that one. To my music.
Maybe there needs to be a specific ballad just for them.
I'll have to write it.
Exactly. Keep working on it.
Right. And then the other kind of thing that I think is awesome, you know, for a young woman to be able to be on a TED Talk stage, you know, that has to feel pretty, I mean, I don't know. I mean, are you just like, yeah, I'm kind of killing it right now. How are you, like,
I think
these pivotal moments, how are you feeling about it? And are you just like, yeah, that's right? Or, you know,
I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's all happened, you know. I am super grateful and honored to have had those experiences and learn from them. And, you know, it does give me validation when I feel like quitting sometimes, you know.
You feel like quitting sometimes?
Absolutely. Oh my God, I felt like quitting last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
No, you know, it's hard when you're in a profession that is devalued. You know what I mean? It's only valued when you're at a certain level, and you're, you know, selling out, you know, arenas and stuff, and that's when you can make your living. Or if you're, you know, behind the scenes songwriting or something, and like
a Carole King.
Yeah, you're just like.
Churning it out for other people.
Exactly. Or like Smokey Robinson, you know, well, not Smokey, but yeah, you know, it's hard being in this game, you know, and that's why I still have a job and I still, am applying to jobs, like everybody else. Like I'm not at, the level where I can live off of it. And that's,
That's what's astounding to me. You have, if you look at your follows on YouTube and, just the amount of people who have listened to your music worldwide, it's very high. It's millions, right?
Right.
So to think that you have fame, but yet you still need like a day gig.
Right. Yeah.
That is what is astounding to me.
Well, I mean, I just think it like I want to tell people like it gives insight into like what the business is, because just because you're on these lists and stuff doesn't mean anybody's paying you. You know what I mean? Like, sure you get more fans and more people knowing your name and stuff, but if they're not paying you, and this is also like a unique time because you can't tour and
right.
so it's like also like why I'm like extra depressed. Yeah, and
you and everybody else in the
absolutely,
world right now, a little extra
absolutely
depressed. Yeah, which means you can't quit on us.
I know, I can't, and I think like I do it for my family. Honestly, like my uncle was in a plane crash. He was the drummer for Reba McEntire, and that it crashed in 1993 or something, and so
he perished.
Yeah, everyone on the plane died, and Reba took a different bus that night, thank God, and like other people too. But like my dad was in charge of the search and recovery for that crash, and then my mom went out there to see where her brother died, and that's how they met. They met on like at the death site of my uncle, and then I'm named after him, Tonina. So
beautiful.
I'm like doing this shit for my uncle. He's no longer here. I'm sure he's killing it in like the in the realm, in the spiritual realm, of music. But he's not on this physical earth, which I'm sure he would love to be still playing here, with his friends and stuff. So he's like my main inspiration for continuing. Absolutely, I channel him. Yes, I feel like we would be good friends. I heard he was funny. I heard he can dress. He plays the drums. I love drummers.
Yeah.
They're my best friends.
They're your weak side.
We don't have to get into that.
She's suddenly she doesn't want to talk about something.
Suddenly I can't talk about it.
Like, now I'm comfortable.
No comment, please. Please. No pictures, no comment. But yeah, so like I do this shit for him, for real.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to do anything for anybody else, but he's the person that I do the shit for.
When you're like thinking it's just too hard to keep going, you remember all of that.
I'm gonna at least try.
Yeah.
And it can be hard, but I'm not gonna just like dismiss a gig.
Well, you have such a beautiful sound, and your music is lovely, and I hope that you continue to play and for us for a long time. If you ever feel like a low moment, you call Emily, you call me. We will
bring
appreciate that.
Prosecco.
Yes, Prosecco.
No matter what time of day. I usually sleep after 10. That's because
me too, girl. Like,
but Emily's awake.
You can have the early morning crew
if you
here,
need me at like 6
Okay.
a.m., you got me. But whatever. I think that we all have our passions, and we all know when what we're doing is the right thing because how it feels for all of us. You have so much more to say in your songs. You're not done. That's what I
believe that
you're still, the fountain is not dry. And I am so excited, so thankful you came to talk to us today.
Oh, thank you.
So thankful you live in our town. So thankful that you picked up that bass, that you practiced, that you put your music out there, and that we can
put your heart out there,
and we can benefit from hearing it. But I do want all of our listeners to follow Tonina on Instagram. That's I Am Tonina. Go follow her on Spotify. Listen to some stuff. I mean, I know they get like 3/2 of a cent for every play, but you know, when you go to bed at night, just put on the album so that eventually it plays and plays and plays.
Play for your dog.
Eventually, you know, so maybe she can get like $1. You know, and then you are not working on anything. You're not in production for anything currently, but
the album is written.
The album is, and if you follow her on, and I'll let you give all of your socials, then when we're all released from our Corona times, you need to go see Tonina in a neighborhood near you.
Yeah, or travel to Italy or Spain.
Come with me.
Right. I already have the backup dancer gig on the trip to Italy.
Yes, and I got
people.
There's an open call for groupies as well.
I'll bring cello.
Yes.
Oh, Emily.
Lumiere will come. Yes.
Yeah. I can bring a twang fork.
I think
it's
it's the wine glass.
Is it that
the wine glass and like a miscongeniality. Just lick the finger and then do the.
I'll just like throw down some. It's all good. It's okay. I got it. Yeah.
What are your? How will people find you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at I Am Tonina. That's I am and then Tonina. Oh my god, can I spell my name? Tonina.
You did, yeah.
Okay, I did it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, the wine's getting to me a little bit. Right. And and then on there I'll post any tour information if there's ever a tour. And
YouTube.
Again.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then, you can just look just type my name into YouTube, the Googles, whatever your preferred channel of listening is.
Do you think that you would humor us with one more song?
To close out the show.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you all one of my country bops.
Okay, got it.
I can't wait.
So this piece is titled Ma and Pa. It's also on my latest record, Saint Lost. And I wrote the song with the idea of my parents in mind and thinking about, instead of my dad being the person who was estranged, me being the person who was estranged from my parents, and like what that would look like if they were still together and I was the one who went away. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Thought
But
exercise. Thank you.
Am I dying already dead? Replaying old words that Papa said. I thank him for that tough love though. He taught me how to fight and how to sew. Am I living or just alive? By playing old words that Ma once said. I thank her for the love she gave to me. She taught me how to read and how to sing. I wonder what they're doing right now. Do they love each other the same? Do they claim me as their daughter? I guess I love them anyway. Do they play tunes on the front porch? Sipping on bourbon and sweet tea. What do they say to the neighbor on the left when she asks about me? Do they smile when they see my name when the phone rings? I wonder what they're doing right now. romping in his rocking chair. His mama combing out her long gray hair. I wonder what they're doing right now. Do they love each other the same? Do they claim me as their daughter? I guess I love them anyway. I wonder what they're doing right now. I wonder if they're talking about me. Does daddy take mommy and dad now? And wipe her tears when she cries. I know I'm far from flaky. I know I'm gonna see you someday. I know I'm far from flaky. I know I'm gonna see you someday. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know I'm gonna see you someday. Yeah, yeah. I guess I love them anyway. Oh, 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 oh. I guess I love them anyway. I guess I love them anyway. I guess I